What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're gonna be going from Los Angeles down to Irvine. We have the latest update, 2020.44.4. I'll tell you guys in a second, but we're gonna see how autopilot does and the Tesla full self-driving beta does, but I don't have the newest rewrite, I just have features of the full self-driving. But we're gonna see how it does in today's morning drive. Let's get into the video. That's the one thing I still haven't gotten used to with the Tesla. It's a little bit bumpy with the suspension, and I saw Ben Sullen's video in which he got the unplugged performance springs, and he did some testing with like the ride quality, and the unplugged performance springs seem to bounce a little less. So I do kind of want to try that. Also don't want to spend $1,000 on a kind of like a gamble or like a suspension gamble. Because I've also heard that springs can wear out your struts a little bit faster as well. So I don't really want to like modify this car in which it would cause problems later. But I mean, it might be worth it for the ride comfort at the end of the day as well. This is my daily driver, so I do put a ton of miles on it. If it wasn't for the epidemic or the pandemic, I probably would have had that 28 to 30,000 miles by now. I was easily doing about 2,000 miles a month, so that's about 24,000 miles a year. All right, so I just got on the highway now. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on autopilot. Seems like a pretty bright day today. Pretty clear skies. The sun is not as bright as it was the other day in our last video, but still pretty bright. Hopefully I have an ND filter on this time, so it hopefully won't be too exposed, but let me go ahead if I can try and crank this up a little bit. So hopefully it won't be too exposed. Driving about 70 miles an hour on a cruise control setting of 70 miles an hour. We're heading down to Irvine today, a little bit past that, but we should get there. Hopefully there's no traffic, so we get there pretty quickly, and the autopilot doesn't glitch either. Auto lane change wants to get into the right lane. Still going faster than these cars, so there's no point to really get into that lane. So autopilot still wants to go in this lane because it wants to follow the route. It looks like that lane might be going faster, but there are cars coming up from the exit lane or the highway on-ramp lane as well, so I'm not too sure. And then now there's a truck in that lane, so maybe it's not worth it to get into that lane just yet. Let's go ahead and just do it. So auto lane change triggered. Nobody's in that lane anyways. Pretty easy auto lane change for the Tesla autopilot. All right, so this car is just on our bumper right now. For me in the rearview mirror, it looks like they're really riding the bumper from the camera's perspective. It doesn't really look that bad. I'm pretty sure they're going to go around me on the right side right now. And yep, they are. I guess they're in a rush this morning. Now we're about to merge onto the I-5 South. This part of the highway is usually where the sun blocks or shines directly into the cameras, so it's a little bit tough for the Tesla autopilot system to kind of see the lanes. But it also looks like there's some traffic coming up, so hopefully autopilot won't glitch through this area like it usually does. All right, a little bit of heavy braking there. Ooh, okay. Going down to about 30 miles an hour, following this BMW in front of us. A little bit some heavy braking some more. You can kind of hear there's items flying in my car because of how heavy Tesla is braking. Yep, in terms of what version this is 2020.44.10.1. This is the latest version as of the time of this recording, I think November. But I do not have the full self-driving beta rewrite. I do have full self-driving purchased, and I do have features of the full self-driving that we're kind of using in this video, but I do not have the full rewrite with the fancy, crazy Christmas-looking UI and all that stuff. So we're accelerating a little bit there, still kind of pacing this BMW in front of us. Seems to be a little bit of traffic in this area right now. The sun is not too bright, and it's not necessarily shining directly at us this morning, so Tesla can easily kind of see the lanes a little bit easier today. Just pacing this car in front of us, going about 28 miles an hour. A little bit of acceleration, a little bit of braking, kind of just pacing this car. Now it's getting a little bit brighter. I guess the sun kind of moved past the clouds. There was a little bit of clouds in front of it, but now It's shining directly at the Tesla and the highway. All right, going 10 miles an hour and now coming to not coming to a stop. It's still kind of inching forward a little bit. Accelerating, kind of just following this car in front of us. Man, I guess traffic was a lot worse today than it was yesterday. Well, I guess yesterday I left a little bit earlier. So the left lane is going a little bit faster, so I'm going to go ahead and trigger the auto lane change. And okay, so there was a car behind us that was kind of inching up slowly, but Tesla kind of jerked the wheel pretty aggressively, and then now it went into that lane. So very good for the auto lane change feature. It's definitely more aggressive than it has been before. It used to be before, I used to be really conservative and kind of just wait in the lane until it really have enough space to go into that lane. Looks like the traffic is starting to pick up a little bit. Increasing speed to about 35 miles an hour. A little bit of heavy braking there. That's the one thing I kind of noticed the other day when I was driving with Tesla Autopilot. If you're a driver that doesn't necessarily put your head against the headrest, then Tesla Autopilot might be a little jarring for you. But if you drive with your head against the headrest and it provides that cushion for the jerks that it does, then you'll actually be pretty fine, and it's actually really comfortable because then your head doesn't bob back and forth. I like to actually keep my head a little bit forward. It's probably not good for my posture. That allows me to move my head when accelerating backwards and forwards and backwards. And so that's probably why I can feel more jerkiness with the car than if I had my head against the headrest. Traffic is starting to pick up a little bit, increasing to about 50 miles an hour. Still following this Toyota in front of us. There seems to be no glitches so far, which is pretty good. Now there's an empty lane in front of us. It's going to slowly accelerate to kind of close this gap, but maybe not really. It's going to now from 58 to 62 to 65 miles an hour and now to 70 miles an hour. This Corolla on the left side wanted to come into our lane for a quick second, but then canceled their signal. Kind of passing these cars a little bit. This other Toyota wanted to come in and then cancel their signal again. Okay, a little bit of braking there. I'm not sure why it's braking. Ooh, okay, so maybe it's because it thought we were going straight into that truck, but the lanes were actually going right. So it actually braked a little bit for that turn and then made the turn to the right, or followed the lanes to the right, not necessarily made a turn. Auto lane change once again to the left lane right now because it's a little bit faster, so I just hit it and pretty smooth. There was a car like a couple car lengths back, but it was able to go into the lane pretty aggressively. Now auto lane change once again to the left lane again because it thinks it's faster, so let's go ahead and trigger it. There's no cars in this lane, so pretty easily and pretty flawlessly. Auto lane change is a feature of full self-driving beta. This is not the full self-driving beta. So this is another thing I noticed with this newest update. I used to be able to hit these scroll wheels and appease this nag timer, but now I can't. So now I have to disable autopilot and then re-engage it, which is kind of annoying because let's say I'm going 70 miles an hour and I disengage it, and then it slows down to like 65 miles an hour, and I re-engage it again. I lose about 5 miles an hour that I have to kind of scroll back the wheel up to get to that speed, which, I mean, I guess isn't the end of the world, but it's, certainly a first world Tesla problem. So I wonder if Tesla has implemented that where like every third or fourth nag timer, it just does not allow the scroll wheel feature anymore. A little bit of braking down to, wow, 20 miles an hour. I guess there's some more traffic right here. Thanks for watching another video, guys. If you're new here, my name is Dennis. I picked up this Tesla Model 3 about a year ago, and I make videos about my experience. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. A little bit of braking here, down to 30 miles. Ooh, heavy braking actually. Looks like there's some bumper-to-bumper traffic up here. A little bit of hard acceleration there as well. I should install like a little rope right here so you guys can see like when the Tesla accelerates hard or brakes hard, you can see kind of the motion or the momentum of like a swing or something. And maybe like I'll tie a ball with a string attached to it so that you can see if it brakes hard, it swings forward, or if it pulls forward. Or maybe I can just like install a gyrometer right here. Tesla does have a gyrometer, I think in like the track mode, but then you have to be in track mode. So you can't necessarily see how heavy it brakes or how much acceleration, how much G-forces the acceleration is. Let me know if you guys like that idea. Maybe I'll figure out a way to show you guys how heavy the brakes are or how heavy the acceleration is. A little bit of heavy braking right there. It's very sudden too. It's not gradual like some drivers are able to do. That's why I think it's kind of like a bad Uber driver or a bad taxi driver. They just like, it's like on and off, like on the brakes or off the brakes is kind of how I feel with the Tesla Autopilot. Sometimes I feel like it's smoother with newer updates, but sometimes I feel like it glitches even more. And it's really just how the cameras can perceive the cars around us, in front of us or near us, and if it needs to brake immediately or not. Alright, so it looks like we're pulling out of the traffic right now, increasing speed to about 60 miles an hour. Cruise control is still set to 71 miles an hour. Seems like we're in the fastest lane right now, so traffic is letting up. Or not, maybe I can't, yeah, it looks like it's letting up. There doesn't seem to be any traffic ahead of us. We're still in the left lane, so it's still the fastest lane, I believe. Okay, so a little bit of braking around. Ooh, okay, a little bit of late braking there. But that wasn't actually too harsh of a brake. This BMW in front of us is going out of our lane, so that car in front of us, a couple cars in front of us is a little bit aggressive. So the BMW just left our lane, but Tesla is just deciding a little bit late to kind of accelerate. But we're accelerating to 50 miles an hour, now 55, and 60. So this is our first construction area. This one's not as bad, but at the same time, there is a lot of concrete barriers on our left side. We are in the lane where the concrete barriers get pretty close. So let's see how Autopilot does in this area. This one can be a little bit jarring because of how close the concrete barriers are. But you can see right here, here are the concrete barriers. And if these yellow lines didn't direct it to the right, we might actually run into them. But we seem to be doing pretty fine right now. Just coasting along 65 miles an hour. It's going a little bit to the right here. It just gets really close to those concrete barriers because it's a right turn, and Tesla likes to hug the outer lane on turns. But we were able to get to that pretty easily, and now we're going to increase some speed as we get out of the traffic area. Now I've increased it to 80 miles an hour, but we're going about 72 miles an hour just pacing this van in front of us. Alright, so we're coming up on the second construction area, going about 74 miles an hour, so we're going pretty quick, and the sun is also pretty bright right now, shining directly at us. So let's see how Autopilot does. Even that truck can't even figure out where it's going in front of us. It thought that we were going that way. So you can see how this area, even the Tesla has, if humans have a tough time trying to figure out where the lanes are, the Tesla is definitely going to have a tough time trying to figure out where to go. So this is where the other day the Tesla wanted to go straight into this wall, or maybe it was this wall. Yep, see, okay, so you see how so that's just really interesting. It's just really confused on what it wants to do. It's like swaying into the left lane a little bit, or going into that concrete barrier and then swaying to the right. But luckily, it corrected itself this time. The other day when I was driving here, it almost looked like it was just gonna go straight for that concrete barrier, but I have the footage, so I was gonna review that a little bit on the other video when I edit it. But that was, this was a little bit better. It's kind of learning, I guess, maybe, that what to do in this area. But it was able to correct itself today and keep itself in the lane. A little bit here where you can see it wanted to go to the right a little bit, but then at the last second it noticed that the lane is actually going left, and so it stayed in the lane going left. So yeah, this area is definitely a little bit jarring. You definitely have to keep an area. I mean, you're not supposed to use Tesla Autopilot in construction zones anyways, but either way, whenever you're using Tesla Autopilot, you should keep aware of what's going on. Okay, this is, yeah, this area is just no bueno for a Tesla Autopilot. It just really wants, the lanes are just confusing completely to the car, and it wants to just get close to the concrete barrier, and then it notices there's a concrete barrier there, and then it kind of pivots right back to the lane or the highway. All right, now Tesla wants to get into the left lane here, but there's another Tesla in front of us, wants to go in the left lane because it wants to follow the route, but I mean, we're still going on this highway for the next, I don't know, 50 miles, so there's really no point in getting in that lane at all. All right, so those were the two areas of the traffic and the construction areas that I wanted to film today. So I think this is where I'm going to go ahead and end it. Thanks for watching another video, guys, and please hit that like if you enjoyed it, and comment below on your experiences currently with the newest update and how it's doing in your construction zones or in your morning commute. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.